I'm Julie Shabinsky. I'm with Johnston & Associates. I'm here to visit with you today a little bit about ALTCS and what you need to know to prepare for your financial future.
So what is ALTCS? ALTCS stands for Arizona Long-Term Care Systems. It's Arizona's Medicaid program. It's for individuals 65 years of age, disabled, or at risk of going into a skilled nursing facility. Please note that on the age 65 criteria, even if you're younger than 65, go ahead and apply. We have had a lot of people diagnosed with dementia in their 50s, and those people have been accepted into the program as well. There are eligibility requirements, the first one being medical, the second one is income, and the third one is assets. And you do have to pass in all three categories to be eligible for ALTCS. ALTCS programs and services. ALTCS pays for assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and group homes, also known as assisted living homes. The average approval time is 2 to 6 months, and it does take that long at the ALTCS office to push an application through. So if you need to be on this program, definitely try to avoid waiting till the last minute because it is a lengthy process. Other programs that are available, there is prescription coverage, doctor's visits, adult daycare, hospice, durable medical equipment, in-home care, which is up to 24 hours per week. So it's not ideal for the person that's needing 24-hour care. Also home modification, where they can come in and make your home safe for that person to be there longer, which would include grab bars by the toilet, a shower bench, ramps, anything that would be needed within reason to keep that person at home longer. ALTCS eligibility requirements. ALTCS has 3 eligibility requirements: 1, medical, 2, income, and 3, resources. And I'm going to discuss each of those for you briefly.
So the first category I want to talk a little bit about is medical eligibility. You have to score 60 points on the medical pass. So how do you score 60 points on the medical pass? Some of the examples would be examples of activities of daily living. You'll hear those referred to as ADLs, are bathing, dressing, grooming, transferring, toileting. Also things they look at is if you've had multiple falls in the last 6 months, or if you've had any incontinency issues with your bladder or your bowel. And make sure that you mention any of those. Even if you only have 1 accident a week, make sure that those are mentioned. Also, if you have a dementia diagnosis by a doctor, that scores you 20 points. But you must have assistance in conjunction with that dementia diagnosis with 2 of the ADLs that I just mentioned.
Income eligibility. For a single person, they're allowed to make up to $2,130 a month to become eligible. A couple is allowed to make up to $4,260 a month of combined income. Now, what happens if a married couple exceeds the $4,260? What happens is they'll look at the couple's income first. If they exceed the $4,260, then they're going to go and look at just the applicant's monthly income. If the applicant's monthly income, or the name on the check, is $2,130 or less, then that person will be approved. If, however, they make more than $2,130, then they can be eligible for something called an income-only trust. What is an income-only trust? An income-only trust is a checking account that is created for those people that make too much money to qualify for ALTCS. So if you make too much money, you can have an income-only trust created. So what happens is one or all streams of your monthly income are redirected from your current checking account into this new trust account. You can choose which way that you would prefer to do it. You can have all income streams redirected or just the one that's putting you over. Then what happens is everything that goes in must come out. So the ALTCS office will calculate your share of cost, and usually it's all of your income minus the current personal needs allowance. Asset eligibility. So let's look at the last category, which is asset or resource eligibility. A married couple is allowed to have one house of any value, up to $500,000 in equity, one car of any value, a maximum of $115,920. That does not include the house and that does not include the car, and a minimum of $23,184. A single person is allowed to have $2,000 in cash. They can have a home, but it is subject to a lien, and they can also have one car of any value. Going back to the married couple, I'd like to point out if you do have more than one residency or more than one car or more than $115,920, there are still things that can be done to correct these issues to make you eligible. So please don't look at this list and let it scare you away if you don't fit that mold.
So going over the asset piece of the eligibility, if you go straight to ALTCS and you apply, and let's say you have $100,000, they're only going to allow you to keep half of that. For example, if you have $100,000, the well spouse gets to keep $50,000 and the ill spouse gets to keep $50,000. Well, the ill spouse has to spend their half down to $2,000. So essentially, you only get to keep $52,000. Well, that's where Laura Johnson comes into play. She gets to work with you and help you preserve all of those assets potentially. So if you work with Laura Johnson, you have the potential to save all of those resources. Whereas if you apply for ALTCS directly, you wouldn't. $52,000 is all you'd be able to keep.
I'd like to point out some additional reasons that we see on a daily basis that are common reasons for denial. The first being life insurance. If you have a life insurance policy, you do have to disclose the cash value, and they do consider that an asset. If you've gifted anything in the last 5 years, you have to disclose that information as well. So if you have given a house away, a car, $50, $500, $5,000, $50,000, whatever it is, you do have to include those numbers when you're disclosing any gifts. Also, we see people just getting frustrated and giving up. They don't follow through on deadlines. Over income, which we talked about, is an easy fix with income-only trust. There's also people that are over resources. Again, that's an area that we can fix. Medical denial. We see this happen a lot where people don't disclose all the information or they don't have all the documentation that's needed. So even if you're medically denied, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't reapply and get approved with more documentation. Another common reason that we see for denial is this lack of consistency among the ALTCS case managers.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Laura Johnson.
Hi, my name is Laura Johnson, and I'm an elder law attorney here in the Phoenix area. I've been practicing in this area for about 14 years, and I love what I do. So the first thing that I thought I would talk about is why working with an attorney is important. And one of the reasons is because sometimes we have to help the caseworkers understand their own rules and what their guidelines are. And an example of that is a family that we helped not very long ago who they were having a hard time obtaining a copy of the marriage certificate. And so the caseworker talked them into signing some paperwork declaring to ALTCS that they weren't married, and then quickly denied their case. So once we were able to assist them and get a copy of the marriage certificate and talk to the caseworker, they were approved pretty quickly after that. One of the other things that's really frustrating is when we find someone who comes in after a really long period of time of privately paying and then finds out that we could have solved their problem a long time before and could have preserved a lot of the resources that have been spent down over a long period of time. We had a couple that came in who had been privately paying for their grandmother to the tune of about $100,000 into their retirement account. And all we needed to do was set up an income-only trust so that she could qualify for benefits, and we were able to do that and help that family. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing these types of presentations and educating people, because then you get to get better information and the right information and know how to work within your family. One of the other things that we like to do is preserve assets for married couples. It's really important when we have one person who needs services and we have another person who might need services in the future, that we preserve as much as we can for that well spouse, so that they can do whatever they need to and be comfortable living as long as they're going to, without struggling financially. So we can work with different families and help them in many different ways to preserve assets and still receive benefits. We're very lucky in our state that we have a great long-term care program which can bring in home services, as well as provide funding for group home care, as well as provide care for skilled nursing. It's really important that you work with an attorney who has a lot of experience in this area. We offer free consultations in our office so that you can get good, accurate information, because we don't really have any idea if we can help you until we start talking to you. We do free screenings and gather all your information, and just however many different families and dynamics in families there are, that's how many different fact patterns we work with. So it's important that you talk to someone who can ask you specific questions about your family and your loved ones, so that you can get specific answers that are right for you and your loved ones, and can look at the big picture. So it's important when you're thinking about long-term care to look at VA benefits, to look at ALTCS benefits, to look at family dynamics, to look at consequences tax-wise, to look at transfers of property and gifting, and all of those things as a big picture and where we're headed in the future. So take advantage of that, and you owe it to yourself and your loved ones to get good professional advice, and we're happy to help within the community and be able to do that. One of the advantages to working with our office is that you get personalized attention and assistance from the beginning of your case till the end. You'll be working with me and with my paralegal and with my office staff, and we'll be with you from beginning to end. We work with great referral companies, we work with great social workers, and you will not have to be alone as you go through this process. Our goal is to keep the caregivers and the family members well and able to do what they need to, while we handle the financial and legal aspects of your case. So don't be afraid to give us a call, and even if we can't help you, we're happy to get you good advice and information so you know where to go and how to handle your situation.
Laura's amazing. She's caring, she's compassionate, she's patient. She's with you, literally, from the beginning to the end. You don't have to do this alone. She's there by your side the whole time. She's there to answer your questions. She's there for you. A lot of our people can't even come into the office. They're so sick that they're confined in an institution, in the hospital, in an assisted living community. And Laura will come and meet with you. She doesn't charge you any extra to do that. So in closing, just remember, we're here to help you. We're here to make this process easier for you. You're going through enough stress of whatever's going on in your life that we're here to take some of that stress off of you. I've been in this industry for nearly 10 years now. I've worked with Laura half of that time, at least. And without hesitation, I can say she's the most ethical person that I've ever worked with. So thanks for taking a few minutes to watch our video about ALTCS. I hope that it has been informational and a great help to you. We could talk about this for hours, but we wanted to keep it simple, just to give you a basic overview of what we could do to help you, and that if you get denied, that there is help. Don't be discouraged. Come to us. If we can't help you, we'll just let you know. Most of the people that come to see us, we're able to help, and there's a happy ending. So we hope to see you soon. Thanks again.